Welcome back, friends, to the 10th installment of GLP-1s for seniors and the weekly report of my own journey on these revolutionary meds. GLP-1 medications like Ozempic and Zepbound help regulate fullness and blood sugar, but food and supplements can enhance them. So no hype here, just real science. Your gut and plate are really part of the team. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. And I'm truly glad that you are here. And please consider subscribing and tapping the little notification bell so you won't miss any of our weekly episodes on this GLP-1 journey we're actually taking together. One shot and one meal and one better habit at a time. A quick bit about me before we dive in. My name is George Logan, and I've been married to my wonderful wife for over 37 years. And we have 3 grown children and 5 beautiful grandkids, the youngest of which is just 5 months old. So this marks week 15 of my GLP-1 medication, tirzepatide, better known by its brand name, Zepbound. It's made by Eli Lilly, and I'm currently titrated to 10 milligrams and have lost over 35 pounds since starting in late July 28th. But honestly, the weight loss is just really part of the story. The bigger one has been learning how this medication fits into a long-term, sustainable lifestyle, one focused on better health, energy, and vitality, not just a number on the scale. And just for context, GLP-1 medications like Zepbound are approved for the treatment of the disease of obesity, which again is recognized as a chronic progressive medical disease by the American Medical Association, the World Health Organization, and several others. And as I often say on this channel, again, this journey is not only about losing weight, it's really about taking back health and understanding the science and doing it all with a little humor maybe and a lot of honesty. And okay, here's the disclaimer. I have had a few plus ones crash the health party. I've had high blood pressure, from which I'm treated, cholesterol the same, and also sleep apnea for several years. They did an RSVP, and they definitely overstayed their welcome. And my goal? Well, I'm thinking that I want to watch them go off into the sunset, waving goodbye for good. Another quick disclaimer, I am a biological scientist with an advanced degree, but I'm not a medical doctor. So while I can explain the science, I can't prescribe anything stronger than, say, spinach. So for personal medical decisions, always check with your own physician. And what I share here and in future videos comes from a scientist's perspective and dives into the clinical research. And my goal is to help you to understand what GLP medications really do and what you can expect and how to build your own lifestyle that lets them shine, especially for those of us that are in our senior years. So with that foundation laid, let's take a look at my past week, and then we will explore this week's topic, real foods and supplements that can actually boost your GLP-1s naturally. All right, folks, here it is, the famous chart that keeps me honest every single week. No filters, no fluff, just the raw, real numbers. And this week's weigh-in shows a total loss of 35.2 pounds, bringing my overall average to about 2.5 pounds per week. And this is since the start of my journey. Now, full honesty here, this comes right after an 11-day vacation in Greece, the one that I shared with you in the past episode, where I actually gained about 1.5 pounds, possibly a little more. But believe me, this was actually a victory. So between the sights and the sounds and the smell of the Ionian Sea, my appetite was wide awake. The food was incredible, fresh, healthy, beautifully prepared, even the ones that we prepared. But yes, I enjoyed a little too much of that Mediterranean magic. But thankfully, all that daily walking and the hiking through the ancient trails and the stone roadways more than balance things right out. And as for side effects, well, nothing really new to report this week. Even my most common one, constipation, seems to have taken a vacation of its own. I'm convinced my daily bowl of what locals call the peasant salad, choriatiki salata, better known as Greek salad, helped immensely in that department. Fresh tomatoes, cucumbers, olives, olive oil, and feta, some spices, oregano, simply delicious. And apparently great for digestion. All right, so before we get down to the business and dive into today's topic, and before I give you a quick recap on what GLP-1 medications are all about, let me show you some fascinating data from my most recent in-body composition scan. Now, you might remember from a few episodes back that every few weeks I climb aboard this space-age machine, contraption. It's called the in-body composition scanner at my direct primary care clinic. Think of it as a brutally honest friend. It tells the truth, no sugarcoating allowed. Now, and this is not a paid ad, but if you live in central Connecticut and you're thinking about starting your own GLP-1 journey towards better health and vitality, check out 4 Elements DPC in South Windsor, Connecticut. I have a little thing from them there, the 4 Elements. You can see physician supervised medical weight loss. That's one of the things they do. This is a fantastic team. They take great care. And yes, they even smile when measuring your body fat. Okay, so here's the latest scan. As you can see, I've now done it 4 times. The last line is the one that I want to focus on. The good news first. I'm just about to dip under BMI of 30, almost officially out of the obese zone, and inching into the overachiever territory. So the fat loss is steady, down 23.7 pounds total. But now for the caution flag. I've almost lost about 2 pounds of dry lean mass, which means that some muscle has gone along for the ride, along with the fat. And that's not an unusual thing. Actually, losing just 2 pounds for that amount of fat mass is not bad at all. But still, the scan shows I'm above average in muscle mass for my age, my height, and my gender, and that's encouraging. But it's also a reminder that I still have some work to do. And lately, I've been ramping up my resistance and strength training. I used to do it twice a week for about 80 to 90 minutes with my personal trainer, Pat. Hey, Pat, how's it going? But I've ramped it up. So now I'm probably adding 2 to 3 days of a little less resistance training, but definitely more. But now it's time to double down. I need to protect the muscle. So keep burning off the stubborn, uninvited visceral fat. All right, so that's enough about me. So the next thing I want to do is just pivot to today's main event, how you can actually boost your body's own GLP-1 production naturally, and how to make your medication that you're taking and paying for, or maybe it's free, hopefully you have that kind of insurance, how you can make your medication even better for you. But first, I want to do a quick refresher on what these little GLP-1 miracles actually do. So GLP-1 is what's called an incretin hormone. It's a gut-made messenger that's produced by specialized cells in your small intestine, known as L cells. So when you eat, especially meals containing protein, healthy fats, or fiber, those little L cells go to work. And they release GLP-1 into your bloodstream, where it does 3 important things. First thing it does, it slows down digestion. It gives your body more time to absorb nutrients and helping you feel comfortably full instead of being stuffed. Second thing it does, it tells your pancreas to release insulin, but only when your blood sugar rises. So it's quite smart. It's a self-regulating system, unless you suffer from insulin resistance, which is a completely other subject we can get into at some point, which obviously many of us, the need to shed many pounds of fat, can experience or actually do experience. The third thing it does, it signals your brain, your appetite centers at your brain, reminding you that you have had enough to eat. And the catch is that our natural GLP-1 doesn't really stick around for long. Just within a few minutes, it's basically broken down by an enzyme we call DPP4, short for dipeptidase 4. That's the last time I'll say that. So think of DPP4 as the kind of the cleanup crew, and its job is to deactivate hormones once they're done their work. But the problem is, it's a little too efficient, and it clears the GLP-1 before it has had a chance to shine and do its work. That's why GLP-1 medications were actually designed to either mimic the natural GLP-1 or to block DPP4's overeager cleanup, thus allowing the hormone to stay active for a longer time. But here's the good news. The foods and the nutrients we'll talk about today can actually help your body release more of its own natural GLP-1 and even make that natural signal last a longer time. Okay, well, let's talk about one of the most underappreciated superstars in nutrition, fiber. By the way, for a more in-depth treatment of the subject, check one of my previous installments that I did. I forget how many back it was. But let's bring some of the salient points back for us today. When we talk about fiber, it's really not just about any fiber, but the kind your gut microbes actually like to eat, what scientists call fermentable fiber or resistant starch. And you'll find it in foods like oats, barley, beans, lentils, green bananas, others, and even cooked, then cooked potatoes or rice, brown rice. And these fibers don't break down in your small intestine. Instead, they travel down to your colon, where your friendly gut bacteria throw a microscopic dinner party. And as they feast, they produce compounds that are called short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, which are mainly butyrate, acetate, and propionate. And these SCFAs, say that 3 times fast, are more than just byproducts. They act like little molecular messengers, and they travel into your intestinal lining, and they tap on special receptors, click, click, hello, called FFAR2 and FFAR3, which are located in the same L cells that make GLP-1. And when the receptors light up, your L cells respond by releasing more GLP-1, which in turn improves blood sugar balance. It slows digestion and tells your brain, hey, I'm full. Now, one of the landmark studies on this came from Tolhurst and Friends, Tolhurst and colleagues. It was published in the journal Diabetes in 2012. And in that study, they demonstrated that these short-chain fatty acids directly stimulate GLP-1 secretion through these FFAR2 and FFAR3 receptors that we just talked about, providing the biological proof that the gut microbiome is a key player in incretin hormone regulation. So every time you sit down with a bowl of oatmeal, a lentil stew, or a side of beans, remember, you're just not feeding yourself. You're actually fueling your microbes. And they're paying you back with natural GLP boost. So really, fiber is a hormone fuel. All right, now let's move from fiber to something a little more colorful, polyphenols, which is, I guess, the reason for the colors here. These are natural pigments and protective compounds that give plant foods their rich colors, the reds, the blues, the purples, and the greens that make your plate look alive. So polyphenols are found in berries, in coffee, in green tea, in dark chocolate, yep, get me some, in extra virgin olive oil, and also foods like red cabbage. And these vibrant compounds do more than just fight free radicals, which we probably all know about. They also support your body's own GLP-1 system in at least two important ways. First, certain polyphenols directly stimulate the same L cells in your gut that release GLP-1 after a meal, meaning you get a stronger natural satiety signal. And second, they slow the breakdown of GLP-1 by gently inhibiting that enzyme that we talked about earlier, the DPP4, which acts like the cleanup crew for your gut hormones. In other words, polyphenols help you produce more GLP-1 and let it hang around longer to do its job. Now, there was a 2020 review by Martineau and friends. It was published in the journal Nutrients. And what they did is they pulled together findings from dozens of human and animal studies. And they found that diets rich in polyphenols, especially those containing chlorogenic acid from coffee and apples, and catechins from green tea, were associated with increased GLP secretion and reduced DPP4 activity. Well, translation, your morning coffee and a handful of blueberries are doing more than just waking you up. They're working quietly in the background as hormone helpers. So the next time you pour up that cup of Java or brew a pot of green tea, you can say, here's to a little polyphenol power. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's talk next about fats, the good kind. You know, for decades, fat was treated as like a villain of nutrition. But it turns out certain fats are not only safe, but they're essential for healthy hormone signaling, including your body's natural release GLP-1. Now, at some point, I'll probably do a video about industrialized seed fats or oils, which are not good. But here are the ones that are good. When we eat the healthy fats, like those found in avocados, in olive oil, in nuts, I eat a lot of almonds and more walnuts, in seeds and fatty fish, such as salmon or sardines. Sardines don't have a good name in this house, but they have a good name in my mind. They activate special sensors along the lining of your small intestine. And these sensors, known specifically as G-protein coupled receptors, specifically the GPR120, and you've heard it before, the FFR1, well, they act like little switches. Click. And when dietary fats hit them, what they do is they send a message to your intestinal L cells saying, hey, it's time to release GLP-1. And that release not only helps you feel full and satisfied, but it also slows down your digestion, and it stabilizes your blood sugar, and it helps your pancreas release insulin much more efficiently. Now, there was an elegant study that was published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition back in 2015 by Wang and colleagues. And what they did is they found that meals rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA, DHA, significantly increased post-meal GLP levels and improved insulin sensitivity compared to meals high in saturated fats. So those Mediterranean staples, olive oil drizzled on your Greek salad, on your vegetables, nice, healthy salmon on your plate, or even a handful of walnuts, are not just heart healthy. They're actual metabolic messengers that are telling your gut and your pancreas to work together in harmony. In short, olive oil isn't just delicious, it's hormonal encouragement in liquid form. How do you like that? Next in the lineup, protein, hormone fuel, not just muscle food. So when most people think of protein, they kind of picture muscle building. But protein is also hormone fuel. Your body doesn't just use protein to repair tissues. It uses certain amino acids, the building blocks of protein, to communicate with your gut and your metabolic hormones. So when you eat rich protein-rich foods like eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, of course lean meats, beans, or even a scoop of whey, say, concentrate, these amino acids reach the lower intestine where they interact directly again with your L cells, the same ones that release GLP-1. So amino acids, especially glutamine, arginine, and leucine, act like chemical doorbells. Ding dong. They tell your gut, hey, nutrients are here. And in response, your body releases GLP-1 to help you regulate appetite and your blood sugar. Now, one great study was done by Greenfield and colleagues. It was published in the American Journal of Physiology, Endocrinology, and Metabolism. This was back in 2009. Demonstrated this beautifully. What the researchers found out is that oral glutamine supplementation in people with type 2 diabetes significantly increased GLP-1 and insulin secretion without raising blood glucose levels. And that's a big deal because it means that the right kinds of protein can nudge your body's hormone systems in the right direction without causing sugar spikes, which we want to avoid. So starting your day with protein, whether it's scrambled eggs, a protein smoothie, a Greek yogurt, or a Icelandic skyr, isn't just about energy or muscle maintenance. It really helps turn on your hormonal satiety switch, click, keeping hunger steady and your energy curve smooth throughout the morning. So bottom line, protein talks to your hormones, not just your biceps. And now the microbiome connection. We've talked about this in another video in the past. You might want to go there and look for a little more detail. But your gut isn't just digesting lunch. It's really running a high-tech research lab. And one of its favorite inventions, GLP-1. In 2013, Everand and colleagues, they wrote in the Proceedings of Natural Academy of Sciences, found that a microscopic overachiever called Akkermansia muscipula can actually boost your GLP levels. So this is bacteria, right? And it tightens your gut lining and improves your insulin sensitivity. Not bad for something you can't even see with a microscope. So how do you keep your Akkermansia happy? Well, you need to feed it what it loves. Prebiotics. That means inulin, chicory root, garlic, leeks, and things like asparagus. Basically, these are fiber snacks for your gut bugs. And they munch, you benefit. It's the ultimate win-win. And when your microbiome is well fed, GLP-1 production runs stronger and it runs smoother. And your digestion goes a lot smoother. And even your mood may lift up a little bit. Check that video, you'll see why. Because at the end of the day, a happy gut makes a happy human. I almost said a happy wife. Now I'll say this over and over again. Food still runs the show when it comes to GLP-1. But there are a few smart supplements that make excellent supporting actors. Let's start with berberine. Now, this is a golden compound found in plants like barberry. And what it does, it raises GLP-1 and also lowers that DPP-4 we talked about, the enzyme that breaks down your GLP-1 before it can do much good. So less DPP-4 means your GLP-1 stays active longer, kind of like giving your hormone a longer coffee break. All right, next up, a very important one, omega-3 fatty acids. These are extremely important. They're anti-inflammatory fats from fish oil or algae, and they don't just help your heart. They also boost GLP-1 release and they improve insulin sensitivity. It's like a metabolic tune-up for your cells. And then there's curcumin, and that's the bright yellow hero that you find in turmeric. Probably most of you have turmeric in your kitchen. What this does, it reduces inflammation in the gut and the bloodstream, which helps your incretin hormones, including GLP-1, signal much more effectively. So you can spice up your cooking, and you might just calm down your metabolism. All right, green tea extract, that's the next one, or EGCG, joins the party too. This is the compound found in green tea extract, or green tea, so have some green tea. It helps slow down the breakdown of GLP-1 by taming that same, you got it, you name it, DPP-4 enzyme. In other words, your morning cup of green tea might quietly be helping your GLP-1 hang around for longer. And finally, vitamin D. This is the sunshine hormone that supports insulin sensitivity and incretin response. I had a whole video on that, extremely important. Most of the population, well, maybe not most, but at least half the population, maybe more, in the United States are either insufficient or deficient in vitamin D. And vitamin D does a whole bunch of things. It really helps to regulate all kinds of processes in your body. And if you don't have enough, you need some. But the only way to figure that out is by getting a test. So you don't overdo it with vitamin D, because you can. So low vitamin D levels often mean sluggish glucose metabolism. So a little daily dose, the right one, can go a long way, especially in darker months. So put it all together, and you've got a supplement squad, or a stack, if you will, that supports GLP-1 from multiple angles, and helping your body to do naturally what GLP-1 medications were designed to mimic. Smart nutrition, strong science, and maybe one less reason to fear the word enzyme, DPP-4. Okay, so this is where it all comes together, the synergy of GLP-1 medications. Everything we've talked about so far, food, fiber, healthy fats, the microbiome, protein, those smart supplements, they'll team up with your GLP-1 medication. And this is real synergy looks like. Science and lifestyle basically shaking hands. And here's the big picture. This food synergy with GLP-1 meds helps your body stay balanced. It smooths your digestion and enhances hormone stability. And it can even reduce, listen to this, reduce side effects like nausea and fatigue. So what you do is you start with fiber, still is the start of the show, which because it slows down digestion just enough to keep that glucose level steady. And of course, it feeds your microbiome, and it supports your body's own natural GLP production. It's really like giving medication a steady rhythm to dance to. And next, we have the omega-3s. We talked about those healthy fats from fish, from flax or algae that just don't protect your heart. They also reduce inflammation, they blunt your glucose spikes, and may improve how your cells hear the GLP signal. And your salmon is basically your semi-glutide wingman. Then we have your anti-inflammatory foods, the berries, these colorful berries, your turmeric, your olive oil, your leafy greens, and those calm down your chronic inflammation, which a lot of us are either suffering from or have suffered from. And this again helps your GLP-1 receptors respond better. The quieter, cooler internal environment makes your hormones much more efficient. And also don't forget hydration. I forgot my water. Oh my. Don't forget hydration. GLP-1 meds can slow the gut a little too much. So staying hydrated helps prevent constipation and keeps digestion moving along just smoothly. Simple, but powerful. And so when all these pieces work together, the fiber, the omega-3s, the anti-inflammatory foods, hydration, your GLP-1 medication doesn't have to work as hard. And you get steadier energy, you have fewer side effects, and better long-term results. And this is the harmony between medicine and metabolism, where modern GLP-1s meets timeless nutrition right? Ancient nutrition, good stuff. And when you bring all these things together, well, your body says, finally, we're speaking the same language. Okay, so let's bring this down to earth or down to your gut level, if you will. And so after all this science, here's what really matters day to day, especially for our seniors who are on our GLP-1 journey. So these are your practical takeaways. These are real habits that really make the difference. So number one, at every meal, eat your protein first. So that's right. Start with your chicken, your fish, your eggs, or your tofu before touching the carbs. Why? Because protein blunts your post-meal glucose rise and stabilizes your appetite and sends your gut the fullness signal that GLP-1 amplifies. Think of it as leading with the main act, not the opening band, right? Then move to your healthy fats, your olive oil, your avocado, your nuts, your seeds, because they help release more GLP-1 and keep your blood sugar steady. So your body doesn't go on a glucose roller coaster before dessert. And finally, finish with the complex carbs, your vegetables, your beans, your lentils, or your whole grains, or your resistant starch that we talked about, like brown rice that has been cooled for a day. So by saving these for last, your blood sugar rises slower and steadier, so you don't have these spikes. And you stay fuller for longer. And it's just a simple order of operation tricks that pays off big over time. It really does. So next, include fermentable fiber every day. These are things like oats. We've talked about chicory root, onions, asparagus, etc. And these are the ones that feed your microbiome, which we know supports GLP-1 production naturally. Again, happy gut, happy hormones. And yes, you can also enjoy your coffee and your green tea. These polyphenols from both help in extending your GLP-1 activity and improve your metabolism. So this morning cup really does have a scientific side hustle. It's good. Have your coffee, enjoy it. And add a daily probiotic or fermented food like your yogurt, your kefir, your sauerkraut, your kimchi. I had kimchi on my scrambled eggs the other day. It was delicious. And these help to populate your gut with beneficial bacteria, and they strengthen your GLP-1 response from within. And after meals, this is key. Move. A gentle walk, just a bit of stretching, going up and down stairs a few times helps your muscles soak up the glucose, and it boosts insulin sensitivity, and it complements what your GLP-1 meds are already doing. And finally, remember this. This is the mantra that I'm trying to put into my head. Consistency beats perfection. You're not going to be perfect every time, but be consistent. You don't need to nail every meal. You just need to show up again and again and again. And habits build health. Hacks, they fade away. So eat your protein first, feed your gut, keep moving, and let the science of GLP-1 work with you and not just for you. Again, because vitality at any age isn't about restriction. It's about rhythm, about balance, and a few daily smart choices that actually stick. So we have come full circle. GLP-1 medications may open the door, but it's your daily habits that walk you through. And the real transformation happens when science, sunlight, and smart nutrition work together. I'll probably do something on sunlight in the near future. Very important. So this is your vitality formula. It's not a shortcut, but a steady rhythm of self-care. GLP-1s help your biology, but you help your biology thrive. And every time you eat protein first, add fiber to feed your microbiome, or take that post-meal walk, you're partnering with your medication, not just relying on it. And sunlight? Really, it's not just a mood booster. It's biology in action. A little vitamin D, a bit of fresh air, and that daily reminder that your body was built for energy and motion. So remember, this isn't just about weight loss or glucose numbers. It's about vitality. It's about more strength, about more clarity, and more life in every year you've earned. So thanks again for joining me on GLP-1s for Seniors, where science meets real life, one injection and one meal at a time. And next week, well, let's just say you'll be joining me in my own kitchen to see a few of my morning routines so you can see that I actually practice what I preach. So until then, my friend, keep feeding your body, keep feeding your spirit, and keep showing up, because consistency beats perfection, and sunlight never hurts. So hope to see you next week from somewhere between my kitchen and my pantry. Arrivederci, stay vital, be at peace.